Hi, everyone. Oh my gosh. All right. So today I am going live for technically the second time ever on YouTube. The first time was about 2 minutes long. And I am facing my fear of doing a YouTube live by doing a YouTube live. And in that way, I'm facing my fear of failure, my fear of rejection, my fear of so many nuances when it comes to rejection and failure and self-worth and self-consciousness. But I have realized in the span of my life that the only way to get rid of a fear is to go through it. So I'm going to do this live for 20 minutes, and I'm going to talk about fear, how I work through fear, and my relationship with it. Because honestly, that is what has been holding me back in my life, in everything, really, in life, love, friendships, career. It's fear. And in the moments where I had let myself work through my fear is the moment I've had some of the most incredible experiences of my life. So I'm going to do this live stream for 20 minutes. I will face my fear of failure and rejection for 20 minutes. And I'm going to set a timer. Alexa, set timer for 20 minutes.
20 minutes, starting now.
And I'm just going to work through it, and talk about fear while I'm facing fear, because I think that's pretty iconic. See, I feel like I was born with just this big glob of fear just placed upon my chest. Everything was scary. I don't think I was ever like a brave and fearless kid. Quite the opposite. I think I oftentimes was riddled with anxiety and always nervous about what could happen, what might happen. And because of that, I have held myself back a lot in life, and it's painful to think about. There are a lot of opportunities that I've missed out on and different lives I could have lived if I didn't let fear rule me. And fear is interesting. It's this invisible but powerful entity. It's like an invisible monster that you can just feel, but you can never really see. For me, it's a palpitation in my chest and racing thoughts, tightness in my back, and it feels like these intense emotions are just embracing me in a way where it's almost drowning. That's fear for me. It's terrifying. And that's why I was so scared to do this live stream. See, I've always dreamed of posting on YouTube to tell stories that mean something, that could affect the world, that could do something. See, the awesome thing about social media is that you're connected to the world. And if you post a story, not like an Instagram story, but just the story, you don't know who will resonate, because it's the whole world at your fingertips. And I think that's pretty freaking magical. But what's scary is that the whole world is at your fingertips. You have the whole world to reject you, to affirm the fact that you could fail. And so I haven't really delved into posting on YouTube, despite the fact that I have stories I want to share and lessons I've learned about life. And the thing is I was always waiting for myself to be ready when I was more confident and more grounded and more prepared. And though I do feel to a certain level more confident and more prepared than I did 3 years ago, I don't feel ready. I don't think you ever feel ready to face the things that scare you. I do think that there comes a point when you're scared of something, you look it in the eye and you seek to understand. I think maybe the moment I realized I was ready to live a life where fear wasn't the main character was when I finally sat fear down across the table from me. And in a way, we shared a meal, right? Came to understand my fears, not shame them. And in a way, I find intellectualizing different than understanding. Understanding is having an empathy, seeing the root cause, yes, but feeling empathy for the fear that has developed inside of me, where that came from, and how I've fed it over the years, and knowing that I have a choice right now to change my relationship with fear. Fear will always be a whisper, a presence, and in some ways I feel like me and fear would often, if not for the rest of my life, hold hands as I delve into whatever I desire to explore at one point in my life. But it will be, in some ways, as a friend. I've often seen fear as an enemy, as the only obstacle to keep me from the things that I dream, and in a lot of ways, that's 100% true. And I don't know if there's anyone out there that feels the same way, that you feel like you can do anything, that you have the talent or the skill or the time or the resources, but or you have one or a combination of all of them, but the fear feels like this physical being that is literally like the troll blocking the bridge to the life that you want to live. But it's not a troll. It's a misguided protector. And I have realized one thing about fear, or rather, I've come to see how I can view fear differently. I view fear as a compass. I feel my fear. I understand why I feel it. And I walk right towards the thing that I am terrified of. The more fear I feel, the more I must do it. And of course, there are always exceptions to this rule. Walking through a dark park, not a fear I'm trying to conquer, but having the faith and fear, having the faith to create something when there's a fear of failure, to form a relationship with someone, whether platonic or romantic, even if there is a fear of rejection. See, fear is the misguided protector, but to face fear and to go towards the things that fear is terrified to acknowledge is similar to, I don't know. I was on something and then I lost it. But the thing is that when I have lived a life governed by fear, but guided by fear in a way where I did exactly what it didn't want me to do in a lot of ways, I lived a pretty colorful life. I did things that I've always wanted to do. I moved to New York City. It was terrifying. I was scared, but I was excited. And it was a challenging, both amazing and terrible time. But it shaped me. And I'm forever grateful for that experience. I backpacked through Asia by myself. There's so many times I was scared. When I planned the trip, I was scared. But I grew so much as a person from that experience. So much. And I don't know. You just don't know who you can be unless you try. Unless you look fear in the eye and you say, I'm stronger than you. I can do this. And all of a sudden, fear gets smaller and you get stronger. And the power dynamic shifts. She turns into a whisper, and your voice becomes louder than the things you fear. I think. Like today or yesterday. Look, to premise this too, I'm scared of a lot of things. Irrationally, one would say, despite the fact that I have done so much to face my fears. I've faced quite a few fears and I've done some cool stuff, but as I said, the fear doesn't go away. I'm still so scared. Like, I moved back to my hometown in San Diego, and I've established kind of a routine in my life. And yesterday, I had this desire to go hiking, but I was scared because it was unfamiliar. Hiking was an unfamiliar part of my daily routine, and there was a part of me that did not want the unfamiliarity. There was a fear. But the thing is that fear, you have a choice. So sometimes you don't have a choice whether you feel fear or not. But you do have a choice on what you do with that feeling. That is what you have a choice in. And I decided a long time ago that I would work towards making different choices when I felt scared. There were days, months, and years where I let fear control me a bit more than I wanted to, but I still tried when I could. And I woke up one day and I thought, and I had faced enough fears where the trajectory of my life had changed quite a bit. It's my birthday in 2 weeks. Oh no, less than 2 weeks, like 9 days. And in the last year, I've grown a lot. I've changed a lot. And a lot of that is because I faced a lot of really scary, irrational fears for some, but quite valid fears for myself. A fear of taking care of myself, fear of journaling, fear of going to the gym, a fear of living a healthier, non-toxic life. And by facing those fears for a handful of times throughout this year, things have changed. It's funny because I value the way that I feel very often. And I think I've been on this journey of healing. And it's hard when I'm a very emotional being. And that fuels a lot of my creative energy. It fuels how I connect with people. It fuels how I see the world. I'm very emotional, very sensitive. But fear, it can drown you if you let it. I find fear to be like a well-intentioned friend that tries to help you but does it in all the wrong ways. I've learned not to demonize her, to appreciate her for who she is. She tries to love me in a weird, twisted way to protect me from the unfamiliar, the unknown, from things that might hurt me, but she's never really sure. I'm grateful for my fear. Interestingly enough, even though it's held me back in all aspects of my life, throughout my life, because, like that movie Inside Out 2, fear and anxiety go hand in hand. And I'm grateful for what she has done for me. Truly. She has tried her best. And I will continue to seek to understand her. But she is not the main driver of my life. And that perspective shift has kind of changed everything, really. I'm going to talk a lot about fear on this channel, mainly because it's been something and still continues to be something that rules my life. But I'm slowly but surely learning to lessen my fear of fear. Mainly because allowing fear to rule my life has never made my life quite good. But I will not shame my fear. I will not be angry with my fear. I've done that my whole life, and the only thing that does is make you more ashamed of who you are and more angry at the person that you are. And I don't want to be angry at myself, because every version of myself has tried really hard to create a good life for myself, even if I didn't have the tools before. It's interesting talking about my life on a live, because it's like, who's listening? But the thing is there's so many of us in this world, this big, complex, beautiful world. And we're all figuring it out. It's all our first times living. And there hasn't been a single person in this world that I have met who truly has life figured out. I've met all types of people. I've had friends who were artists, politicians, lawyers, students, lost youth, you could say, and even adults just figuring it out, retired people and elderly people. And everyone's just a little bit lost, trying to figure out their emotions and their experiences. And I'm realizing that fear it's just a feeling. It's just a feeling. And to live your life guarded, to live your life ruled by fear, that's not a life. Not that that's not a life, but fear does not deserve to drive your life, my life, our life. It's a tool sometimes, but she is a misguided lover in many ways. One that loves you and you love her, but you listen to her too much, you could lose yourself. I've been scared of a lot, my friends. I've missed out on dream schools and careers, great jobs and great friends. Missed out on living in cool cities and living a completely different kind of life. Fear has destroyed me, but it has also made me who I am. It has made me someone with an endless thirst to fight, to want something more for myself, because you spend your whole life riddled in fear. The moment you start to climb out of the rubble, you're thirsting for adventure, for beauty, for healing, and to heal others, to heal the world, because you know what life is like, where your mind is your prison, and you don't want anyone else to feel that way, ever. So I just need to share my thoughts. Hopefully, there's someone out there, in a place I don't know, listening to this and relating to it, and hopefully finding a little hope. Man, it's been almost 20 minutes of my live stream and everything's okay. See, fear is just a feeling. And by not letting it keep me from doing a live stream, I feel this sense of pride knowing that I'm stronger than my thoughts and my feelings. Small steps like this can lead you to a completely different life. And it's leading me towards mine. Thank you all so much for listening to my live stream. Or maybe I'm talking to myself. Timer is done. Alexa, stop. Thanks so much for listening.